Hello everybody, I'm Antonia and this is Noel and we are from Boxtail Soup Theatre Company. Welcome again to another of our weekly vlogs. If you are enjoying them, please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, welcome again to the new subscribers, or leave us a comment. It'll be lovely to hear from you. Thank you to people who explained to us that it was in fact murmuration, not susurration. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then watch last week's vlog, that will tell you. It's very windy today, so there's quite a lot of gusty gusts happening.
And obviously we're in the office again rather than the studio because once again we've spent all of the time really, in front of the computers trying to get everything ready for Gulliver Exploded and also doing the usual kind of admin and emails and marketing and all that sort of stuff.
I'm actually seeing, so Gulliver Exploded involves interactive buttons for things, and I'm literally seeing them in my dreams. My dreams are involving like clicking a button and then that takes you to something else, or like flowcharts and whatever. Anyway.
Does it make choices in your dreams easier?
Oh, I don't know.
Just click the button.
I've just been glad when we finally finished it. But with this week we wanted to talk about something different. We wanted to talk about marketing, which is something that Noel and I really know very little about. And
yeah,
I would say.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything that we know about it, we've learned by doing this job. And in the beginning, we knew absolutely nothing. So it's really been a case of kind of finding your way in the dark because it's incredibly difficult it's difficult on the one hand to work out what needs doing, but the really tricky part about it, and the thing that we often struggle with, is it's hard to tell what works.
Yeah.
And that can be really frustrating because you feel like you are, as you said earlier, you feel a little bit like you're shouting into a vacuum sometimes. Or if you are on the occasions where we've paid for advertising and stuff, it's really hard to tell whether you're spending that money well or whether you're kind of throwing it away, because trying to find out how effective it was, who saw the advertising, who came to the show because of the advertising, is really, really difficult. It's really hard.
And generally for us, the sort of prevailing opinion from the audience when we speak to them after the shows is that the reason why they've come is because they've either seen us before or somebody they know has seen us before and they've told them to come along, which is lovely, and we're incredibly grateful for that because that really does make up the majority, I would say, of our audience wherever we go. But that only takes us so far. Obviously, we are a relatively small theatre company. We do relatively small venues. So when you've only got small capacities everywhere you go, there's only a certain number of people who are going to ever have seen you in the first place. Mm-hmm. And we were talking this morning really, and there was an article, there's been a few things written about it recently.
But this morning it so happened that there was an article in The Stage by Lynn Gardner, and the article was kind of saying that there was a chap who he'd been tweeting about the fact that he was struggling to promote his shows, and he didn't feel like he was getting much help from the venues either. And he'd been kind of vocal about it on Twitter, and Lynn Gardner had obviously picked up on this, and then she'd written an article looking at how small companies and individuals can promote their work and whether venues help them with that, and also I guess whether that's got any worse since the pandemic and since kind of people have been struggling to bring audiences in, as audiences have been slow to come back to the theatres.
And I think that's what sort of resonated with us particularly. And I also read an article about Broadway and how they've still, there was somebody saying, obviously it was very, very hard when the theatres were shut during the pandemic, but actually it's still really hard because although it's great to be out and doing shows again and the theatres to be open, we're still very much feeling the effects of what happened in those years. And I think for us, that's been the sort of noticeable thing, and it was nice to read Lynn Gardner's article and read these other things where we felt like, oh, good, it isn't just us then. We're not alone in the way that we're feeling, because sometimes you get in your own bubble and you're very focused on your own tour and you're focused on selling your tickets and you're thinking, oh my goodness, we've only got X amount of people coming to this one and whatever, and you get very wrapped up in your own business. And you do feel alone. You do very, very much feel alone. And it's very nice to hear.
I think it's another one of those points when social media is a real double-edged sword, because as nice as it is to have connections with people, you often feel that others are doing better because you will look at the social media feeds of other people, and it's all with rose-tinted glasses.
As is ours. I mean, we know that because we do it. We do it too.
Yeah, people probably look at our feed and go, "Oh, they look like they're doing so well. Why are we struggling?" And it can feel very difficult.
And I think the truth is that it sounds like, everybody to a certain degree is still struggling. And I think certainly what we've found since the pandemic is not only did we lose our own momentum as a company that we'd built up, we'd built up a good following, and we're lucky we do still have that, but we definitely have lost, you were absent for a while, a long
2-3 years
while, and people will slightly forget, and they forget about you, but they also, I think, that more to the point, in fact, they forgot about going to the theatre generally. It's certainly going to the sort of the more small scale, the touring theatre. And I think venues are struggling in the same way. Venues clearly struggling to regain the audience that they had pre-pandemic.
Yeah, in a lot of cases, they've lost funding, so there's even less money available to promote things than there was before.
So when you've got both sides struggling, and you've got venues who need you to start to pay more for your own advertising, which is fair enough because they've lost budget here and there, but you can't really afford to because you've only got one date. It all gets very tricky, and I think that we are very much feeling that at the moment. Going into our tour starts next week, and we're very excited. We're going to Harrogate Theatre first, and we love going there. They're always it's a lovely venue, they're very supportive, and when we've been pushing the ticket sales for there, and they're not bad at all, actually. We're doing all right for those ones, but again, they're not up to what they were in 2019 for sure.
Yeah, sure. And the show, it's difficult to know what to do with it, because obviously Gulliver did very well in Edinburgh. It got some fantastic reviews, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. Got brilliant feedback and reviews from audiences. We had loads of people in to see it, and hopefully they'll help to spread the word. And so you think, okay, well, we've got a great product that we know people enjoy, and we've got great reviews. We just need to find a way to let people know that it's on, and to actually be able to promote it. And when you're nowhere near the venue, nowhere near the location that you're going to, if you've got several dates on tour and you're doing a single date at each of them, it's really, really hard, because, okay, people might say, well, you should spend more on advertising or spend more on this. To be able to spend an effective amount of money for each of those dates to target the advertising to each of those places is beyond the budget that you have. It then means that it's no longer sustainable, because you can't afford to keep doing that, and you can't afford to go to those venues. So you have to find other means of doing it. And it's why, when we go on about, oh, we're so grateful to people for following us on here, or for the support that people give us, it's because it really genuinely makes a big difference. And for people to sort of share our posts, or to share our comments, or to like stuff on social media, or follow us on various social media platforms, all of that incrementally helps in those little ways, because those are channels, at least, that mean that we are able to get it out to a slightly wider audience, and it doesn't cost us a fortune to do it. So those little things do actually make a big difference.
Except for the fact that now the social media giants are trying to demote all your posts and make you pay for everything, where they didn't before, because that's the other slightly frustrating thing, where before you could get a more organic reach on various social media platforms. Now that's not so much the case, because they want you to pay as well. They want everything to be, so you'll find that posts that used to get out there to your followers, even they're not even seeing them, because they're being sort of demoted, because you aren't paying for promoted posts, which is what they're continually asking you to do. And I do get very frustrated with that, because it's sort of the big tech guys kind of tramping on the little guys, and you can't really,
well, you're always,
I don't know how you break through.
You get told to build a community, and build followers and engage with these people, and all that kind of thing, which is what we do in real life. In terms of getting people to come to the shows, that's exactly what we're trying to do, is build a following of people who enjoy the work, and who will therefore both spread the word and come back to see you.
Which is why we like to meet everyone after the show.
And do everything we can to really kind of connect with an audience, and make sure that they that the work is recognisable, and that they'll want to come back and see something else. But now to be able to do that online on the social media stuff seems more difficult, because it seems like there are more and more obstacles in your way to even communicating with the people who do follow you.
Yes, exactly. So there you are. There's some real talk for this week's vlog. But we thought that, like I said, the things that we'd read kind of brought it home to us again that we weren't the only ones who were feeling slightly frustrated and kind of curious as well as to what we can actually do.
And also that it's important to talk about it, because if there are other people or other companies or other artists who see this and go, oh, well, that's me as well, you know, we're all in the same boat, then perhaps people feel slightly less alone, and perhaps we can help each other out somehow. If anybody's got any suggestions or ideas, or if anybody wants to cross promote, or if anybody's got any thoughts about anything we could or should be doing, if there are any marketing gurus out there, please let us know what you think.
So I think that is all for now. We could ramble on for hours, I think, on this topic, but we will stop. But if you are enjoying the vlogs, as I said before, please do give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you, and we will see you again next time.